Okay, so today we are working on Activity 2.1 Building Blocks, and we are going to be doing Part 4. So I have Part 4 up on my screen. See, I'm in Activity 2.1 over here, and it says Part 4 right there. And we are going to start at number 12, Watch the Coordinate System video.
Before you begin graphing objects, let's take a look at the coordinate plane and geometric shapes. The coordinate plane is a two-dimensional space formed by a horizontal number line called the x-axis and a vertical number line called the y-axis. The x-axis extends from negative infinity on the left to positive infinity on the right. The y-axis extends from negative infinity on the bottom to positive infinity on the top. The point at which both axes intersect is called the origin. The x and y axes divide the coordinate plane into four parts called quadrants. These quadrants are commonly represented using Roman numerals. Starting in the upper right corner, they are quadrants 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's take a closer look at these quadrants. Any point in quadrant 1 will have positive numbers for the x and y coordinates. For any point in quadrant 2, the x-coordinate will be negative, but the y-coordinate will be positive. In quadrant 3, both the x and y-coordinates will be negative. And lastly, in quadrant 4, the x-coordinate will be positive, but the y-coordinate will be negative. The coordinate plane is used to plot ordered pairs or points and graph lines to see what they look like. An ordered pair is two numbers that define the location of a point on the plane. The first number in the ordered pair is the x-coordinate. It tells us how far to count on the x-axis and in which direction, left or right. The second number in the ordered pair is the y-coordinate. It tells us how far to count on the y-axis and in which direction, either up or down. Let's plot point A that represents the ordered pair 3, 2. The x-coordinate is positive 3, which tells us to count 3 units to the right of the origin. The y-coordinate is positive 2, which tells us to count 2 units up. You mark point A where x equals 3 and y equals 2. What do you think that the ordered pair would be for the origin? That's right, 0, 0. If you connect 2 points, you create a line segment. Consider points C and D. The line between C and D is a line segment. The points that define the segment are called its endpoints. A line segment is referred to by its endpoints. So the line segment between points C and D is called line segment CD or line segment DC. The order doesn't really matter. Unlike a line where both ends continue forever, a line segment has a finite length. That means it stops at a point on both ends. Polygons are shapes that consist of 3 or more sides. The sides of the shape are line segments, and their endpoints are the vertices of the shape. You can refer to the shapes by their vertices. For example, a rectangle could be ABCD, triangle PQR, and pentagon JKLMN. In this activity, you'll practice plotting points, drawing lines, and creating two-dimensional shapes using a coordinate plane.
Okay, so now we're going to keep following our directions in Project Lead the Way, and it says complete the 2D coordinate plane interactive challenge. So when you click on that, it opens up a new web page for you, and it tells you to go through these tutorials. Drag the points A, B, and C to the following locations on the coordinate plane. So A should be at 6, 3. So 6 is your x-coordinate, 3 is your y-coordinate. So you're going to click and drag on the A. You're going to go over to 6 and then count up to 3. And there it is. So I'd like for you to pause the video, go to your Project Lead the Way, and complete this tutorial. Then come back to the video and keep it going. So you should have completed the coordinate plane interactive challenge by now. So let's move on. Number 14 says launch GeoGebra on your computer. By default, it starts with the Algebra and Graphics view. So, I am now going to start reading all of my Project Lead the Way directions out of one of Mrs. Burke's blue folders, or one of her other sheets of paper, so that I don't have to keep flipping back and forth. You should do the same. So we are going to minimize this screen, and there is my GeoGebra. So I'm going to double click it, find it on your screen, and open it up. And then I'm going to maximize it so we can see better. So to show the graphics style bar, click the arrow on the graphics title bar. So I'm looking, and here is my graphics title bar. So I need to click that arrow, and down comes my graphics style bar. So as I'm looking at number 16 in Project Lead the Way, it says take a minute to explore the options on this style bar. What can you do with each of these options? So I'm going to try it out. If I hover my cursor over it, it's going to tell me what it does. It show or hide the axis. I'm going to click it, and there you can see what it does. Same with the next one. Show or hide the grid. Back to the default view. So when I click that, it moves my grid back to the center. So if I change the size of my screen, watch that. I can make it big again. When we start using this algebra screen, you might want to make it bigger so you can see it, and to recenter it, you just hit that home. Now this one, set point capture style, is how it snaps to the grid. We're not going to mess with that at this point. If you click the arrow down, you can see that kind of stuff, but we're just going to leave it at automatic. So, moving on to number 17. From the file menu, select the tutorials. So, one of the things that I have found is that the tutorials have changed, and we're just going to skip those and move on. So, you're going to skip number 17 and number 18, which is all the tutorials. You are going to click all the way down to number 19. It says create a new file. So I'm going to select file and new. I am not going to save what I've already got. I'm just starting a brand new file. And then I need to save it. So I'm going to click file and save as. You can see mine is saving in the downloads. Make sure you know where your file is saving. You are going to have to show me this file for grading purposes, so you're going to have to be able to find it when I request it. So it tells me to save it my first challenge _ your name. So, my first challenge _ Mrs. Burke. And then the file is .ggb, and that's already set. So I'm going to click on Save. Now when I need to go back to this file, if I don't finish it this class period, I can easily go back to it. So now I'm on number 20, and it says complete the following tasks. From the graphics style bar, click the grid icon to show the grid. Well, my grid already shows. If I click it, it's going to get rid of the grid. So I'm going to keep my grid there, and I'm going to center it so it's in the center. So, first thing, add a point A with coordinates 8, 3. So if you look up on here, you can see points. So I'm going to click the point, and right down here in the input, I'm going to click in that, and I'm going to put in my point. So I put in my parentheses, and then it's going to be 8, 3. I'm going to hit enter. Oh, it's hard to see my point. Let's move it over. Oh dear. Now I'm doing all sorts of stuff. There's my 8, 3. So that's one way to do it. Clicking this, typing in what you want. The other way to do it, if you didn't just notice it, is while I have the point clicked, and the second one says add point B with coordinates 10, 5. So I'm going to count over to 10, and I'm going to go up to the 5, and then I'm going to click B. My next direction says draw a line that passes through AB. So here's my line. So select 2 points or positions. So I'm going to click the line, and then I'm going to click right on my points to make that line go right through AB. The next direction, draw a line that is perpendicular to line segment AB. This will create point C. So if you look at this one right here, I can see 2 perpendicular lines. So I'm going to click that, and I'm going to click right between them. That's just what I want, so I'm going to click it. And there is point C. So the next one says, draw a square with vertices D, E, F, and G. So vertice D is 5, 0. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click the Move tool. I'm going to drag everything over just a little bit so I can see my area a little easier. So a square is going to be a polygon. So I'm going to click my polygon. We're just doing a regular polygon. And my first point is 5, 0. So I'm counting over to the 5. And since it's 0, I'm not going up at all. So I'm going to click on the D. And then my next point is 5, 5. So there's 5 and 5. Oh, do you know what we can... Oh, here we go. Okay. So my next point is 0, 5. So there's the 0 going up 5. It's going to be right there. And the last point is 0, 0. And back to D. So there is my square with those vertices. So now it says change the color and opacity of the square. The opacity, or opacity, depending on who's saying it, is the extent to which the shape is see-through. So I'm going to hover my cursor over that, and I'm going to right-click on my mouse. Make sure you're clicking on the right mouse button, not the left mouse button. So I'm going to right-click on it, and I'm going to look at the object properties. And there it is, color. So I'm going to change mine to a nice purple. All right, and then I need to change that opacity. Oh, wait a minute. It's right here. So right now, it's almost 0, and you can really see through the grid lines. So I'm going to put it all the way up, almost to 100%. And then I'm going to exit out of here, and there it is. You can't see through the square anymore, and it is a nice purple color. So going on to the next one. Draw a circle with the center 2, 2 and a radius of 1. So again, I'm going to look up at my stuff, and there's my circle. So I click on my circle. So it tells me to draw it with a center and a radius. Well, that's a center and a point. I don't have that. I have the center and the radius. So I need to choose that. So 2, 2 is my center. So there's my 2. And I'm going to go up to the 2. Having that opacity very dark where you can't see it makes it a little hard. But that should be 2, 2. And now it asks for my radius. So I'm going to type in 1 and say OK. And there is my circle. So it says for more accurate drawings, you can edit the values of the objects directly in the algebra window. If you haven't noticed everything getting written out here at the beginning as I've done it, it's right there. So if I've made a mistake, I can literally click on it and change it in that. All right, so I need to save my work so that Mrs. Burke can grade it later. So I'm going to click on File, Save. I've already named it. And there I am, done with that particular one.